Welcome to the Brand Forum. I'm Jeremy Bloom, joined with me, my co-host, Josh Palau.
Hello, hello.
We are so excited for our next guest. We are having a fun time, Josh, aren't we?
We are, yes. This is getting interesting.
This is getting interesting. We're feeling those reps. There's less script reading. There's less nerves hopping into each one. Our next guest is a personal friend. We've known each other for a while. We're old colleagues, and I am very pleased to introduce her. So Natasha is the VP and head of paid media at Wells Fargo. From Razorfish to TubeMogul, Natasha's been cutting her teeth as a digitally savvy marketer and paving the way in this crazy ecosystem. She brings a unique perspective to marketing, having spent over 15 years on the agency side, in AdTech, and on the brand side. I love that. The fact that you've been on all three, you're able to just wear every hat. Natasha, thank you for joining us on the Brand Forum.
Thank you guys for having me. Also, that was such a kind introduction. That was very sweet. Thank you.
No sweat. Of course. That we're excited to have you. So
I'm so excited to be here. It's actually my first podcast. I've actually wanted to do a podcast for so long. And we're like, hey, do you want to do a podcast? Like, yes, I do. I have things to say and I want people to hear them.
You have tons of great things to say. Get out of here. A couple of years ago when I was first ideating OhHello and doing some stuff, we did a LinkedIn Live, but maybe that doesn't count. But this is a real podcast. So
right, we've got microphones. This counts.
Microphones.
We've got big microphones.
Josh has amazing hair. Natasha, your hair looks nice. Like,
thank you.
Let's do this. Josh, I'm going to kick this over to you. You're gonna start this, having two fantastically intelligent marketers, and then they schlub. Let's get going, guys.
Oh yeah. We'll get. I'm sure we'll get in there. I guess just as a starting point. I mean, Jeremy sort of alluded to it. It's like, crazy world in general. And I don't think it's stopped being crazy, but it's specifically for marketers.
The understatement of the year, my friend.
Yeah. So it's just as you think through, the work that you're doing, like what are you thinking about? What are you looking at right now? I know it's a big, broad question, but based on your background, I feel like you probably have a lot to say just about how do you think about this? Moving forward in the space.
I feel like I want to say it was 2020. I feel like chaos has started coming through in our landscape and industry since 2020. I remember it was like, oh, cookies are going to go away. That's the end of us. That was all privacy, consent. And I feel like AI overnight has become that new buzzword that everybody's like, gosh, we were at CES just very recently, and I want to say everything and their dog had an AI component. Was it really AI? I'm not exactly sure, but everyone has been using AI as their selling fish. Like, look at us, we do AI. I think that's going to be what takes over most of our year, if I'm going to be very, very honest. So that's kind of what we're focused on at the moment. And I always keep telling people, everybody's trying to sell AI. It's not necessarily is AI. They're just rebranding a lot of things that look and talk and walk like AI as AI. It's not really AI. So I think that's going to be our year of myth busting, finding value in AI at all, and figuring out what does that do for marketing.
You are overseeing paid media at one of North America's largest companies, a top tier bank. How do you go and oversee and think through? How do you suss out what companies are talking about when they're saying using the buzzwords of AI, when they're talking about when they're asking you to do meetings? Just everyone's going to be hitting you up, and everyone does hit you up. Help us understand, call out the bullshit.
Well, let me tell you, I also think I was just talking to my team about this. I think 2025 came with its own sales quotas, and all the salespeople woke up. Let me tell you the number of emails I get in a day. My LinkedIn is blowing up. They found my personal cell number. They're sending things to my in-laws' house. It is getting a little insane. And literally, this person calls me because I was expecting a call from a colleague of mine. It's like, yeah, we sent you a box. Did you ever get that? I'm like, who are you? And why are you mailing stuff to my in-laws' house? And how did you get that address? I really think salespeople have aggressive targets this year. So, you're hearing from all of them. I think you kind of have to cherry pick your top priorities and who you want to meet and who you want to suss out, because if I had a Lumascape, if they still make those, I would lose my mind. I wouldn't be able to navigate myself through that. think we kind of have to stay with the key partners who we work with today. Like those partners aren't going away anytime soon. In fact, if they're going to build AI-based capabilities, that's probably your best bet to start with, and then kind of figure out like where you want to expand for those niche use cases.
It's interesting, and it's funny because we in the previous sessions we've talked about AI, but we haven't dove in so quickly. So let's stick here for a little bit.
Yeah.
If you're thinking about like the components of a marketing campaign or plan, where do you think AI leans in the heaviest? Is it on the channel side, the audience, the creative? Like, where do you think the advantages are?
Everywhere. Like we've been just spending a lot of time like on I'm sure. I mean, we are doing it for professionally, of course, but even on a personal level, like because that's where I am a full geek here. Like, let's talk data to me, talk AdTech to me. It's showing up in every place. It's like some of them are pretty easy to expect, right? So you have your typical use cases with creative. I mean, companies like Adobe for years have been doing things to like help make creative versioning easy, dynamic creative easy. Like those have just always existed. I want to say DC has been around for what, 10, 12 years? It's not a new concept for us by any stretch of the imagination, but it has gotten a new life with the entrance of AI, right? So those use cases will always be around. It's for us to find value in them. Are they were valuable forward? Are they still valuable? How do we keep going there? I think there's going to be new opportunities in the media space. If we can be very honest with ourselves, like if you guys follow this awesome gentleman, he writes about, I'm sorry, I'm completely blanking out his name. I'm going to blame it on pregnancy brain. But I think he goes by, thank you. I think he goes by Shelley Palmer. I'm going to complete.
Sure. I know the name.
So he's just been writing all about AI for the last 4 weeks. And I love his email snapshot that he sends out every morning. And with OpenAI doing like the 12 days of Christmas, like December was chaotic. Let me tell you that, with Search GPT coming out. I'm like, who the hell is using Search GPT? We buy Google, we buy Bing, and now we have to look at Search GPT. And then Perplexity enters the chat. I'm like, who are you? And since when did you have enough volume for me to consider you as a key search player in the industry, right? And then you think of YouTube is a whole different search platform. So really thinking about media, how we think of media today and media in a new AI, LLM, Gen AI world, whole different world for us. I think that's the greatest opportunity for us.
I really love how you just pivoted from going from having spent 4.5 years being very involved on the advertising side of Adobe and working with you in the TubeMogul days, having you as a client, as a partner in the...
I know, we negotiated the first DCO contract for Wells like ages ago.
Thank you for your partnership back then. And so when we talk about just the legacy MarTech companies that were doing AI so many years ago, like we did, and then you being able to make that pivot to talking about how it's taking place in media. And then something that made my eyebrows go up was talking through both Perplexity, LLMs, thinking through as someone who understands ad tech so well, like LLMs matter. It matters how large language models are analyzing different search results and what's taking place, and how that is essentially going to aggregate the information, and how that then the outputs matter for what's taking place for each different brand and the brand perception. So there's a lot happening in the AI space for sure.
Yeah. I mean, I as much as I get mad at my husband for like, why are you paying for this ChatGPT subscription? I mean, I've been using it. I mean, I'm seeing the value of it, like versus having limited search results and what you could do with the paid version. It's pretty cool what you could do with the paid version. Like just the other day, I had to like write something, summarize. I literally uploaded all my documents, like summarize this for me. I'm like, life-changing, completely life-changing.
Yeah, and I think there's a balance, I think, where we're all trying to use it just in terms of like busy work that you could do. Like, I mean, my big use case in the past has been job descriptions, right? Like you could start with like things that you know you vet, you still look at, you review, but in its core, like to try to cobble those things together. Just if I could do it in 10 minutes versus an hour, like it was so much better. And I think that's what marketers are thinking through.
And I was just talking to my brother the other day, and he's definitely smarter than me, more analytically driven. He works for a company one not gonna name, and he's just like built his entire analytical dashboard on Claude's LLM, and like literally is pushing insights for him automatically every hour that would take him 2 days of work. Like, can you build that for me, please? Because that's freaking awesome. Like, just having that capability to bring all that data set together, it kind of blew my mind.
This week on Dishing with Divas, we're harvesting the finest, freshest, farm-to-table, homegrown local data with our guest Ciara Soshin, U.S. Director of Product Partnerships at MIQ. Ciara, with the industry continuing to fracture and divide nationally, what differences are you seeing at the local level?
Most notable, we see advertisers really focusing on hyper-local targeting around specific zip codes and neighborhoods. This allows for tailored messaging and creative that centers around local interests and events, and brands are really taking note of this. The outcome is a really authentic and personal experience between that brand and the community.
How does local data and measurement factor into larger national view for advertisers and clients?
Local foot traffic, sales data, online engagement can be really powerful when considered and extrapolated at a national level. These localized insights are great performance indicators for national campaigns that allow for strategy adjustments and highlight regional and seasonal trends that you often don't see when you're working with a large-scale campaign.
So to summarize, local targeting leads to better consumer experiences and therefore better outcomes for your customer. And that's a wrap on this week's Dishing with Divas, locally sourced insights served fresh right here.
So that leads us to something else. Then if you think through what Claude can do, and as a writing assistant, and just thinking through as a GPT, an LLM, being able to make us all so much more efficient in our writing style and the content that we're creating. What about everything taking place in the meta world? What about everything taking place when it comes to content policies? As you are here, you are at Wells Fargo, one of the most respected brands in America, and one of your top partners is now saying, content moderation.
I wouldn't say that his day of announcement couldn't be worse, but here we are. Because it was fascinating because I was having lunch with my Meta reps that same day. Oh. And they're like, oh, we had no idea this was coming. I was like, wonderful. And apparently the sentiment is that he is choosing Zuck is choosing to align himself more with X, right? Because that's what his consumers want to hear, not what his advertisers want to hear. So there is some, I can't even begin to imagine what it's like working at Meta right now, because there's definitely a difference of opinion on how they should have gone to market with this. But TBD, I know they have so much more to release in the next couple of weeks, right? Because if we think about what Musk did at X, it was pretty bad, right? 2019, he started going down a rabbit hole. We were a big advertiser on X. Like, I used to use X. I'll be transparent. I don't think I even have the app anymore. Like, it sounds like a cesspool for people, like giving all kinds of opinions without any fact checks. And just a rant he even went off with for advertisers, like in being in the news, like really laying off all of his fact checkers and key departments. Like, do we want to be there? I really don't know, right? Like, do I want to, even as a consumer, spend time on the platform? I'm not exactly sure. So time will tell how Meta adapts to that same thinking, if it's going to be exactly the same or a modified version of that, right? Because at this point, like, you're asking people to like fact check each other.
Right,
like, how is that less biased than hiring a group of people with guardrails to like fact check things on the internet? I don't know.
So where do you see the future of social?
This honestly feels like citizen arrest. Like, I don't like you, cancel culture. I'm going to fact check and tell you are lying to me. Like, who's going to fact check the fact checker? Like, I have questions. Meta reps have to answer to me. So we have more follow-ups on that one.
Yeah, it's definitely big. It's funny because we sort of zoomed in. If we pull it all the way out, but you've hit on a lot of these points already. It's like what are the biggest challenges that marketers are facing right now in this sort of whole media landscape?
As of right now, like, what's going to be left behind and what platforms are around for us to advertise on, right? Because I mean, Google's not going away anywhere, but then we haven't hit on, they have a whole settlement sitting on their head too, right? Where they have to divest their search business. I can't comment on what that means, but whatever they decide to do will fundamentally impact almost every US advertiser. I can't think of any one advertiser that doesn't use Google search. If they start to divest that business, what does that mean for them? What does that mean for us? TikTok shutting down, not shutting down. What does that mean for us? X, we hit on it briefly. Is that someplace we want to be on? Meta changing its content policies. Is that something we want to be on? But we do, all of that remains true. It's there. If I put like my marketer hat on, how do I feel as a reputational or brand association? Don't want to be there. But whether I like it or not, my consumers are there. Like they're spending all their freaking time there. So what is the really sour medicine I have to swallow here to decide at what level that makes sense for me? So these are all things that are going to be questions that 2025 will have us lingering and thinking about.
Yeah, the disruption. So if I had to put it under one theme, I feel like you're feeling like the biggest challenge is this sort of uncertainty of what's going to happen with all these platforms. And I think it's a very good point you make that I've heard in some other pockets around, like you have the hey, my consumers are there, so I should be there, and then companies have to decide, okay, but do we align with that person or the values of that company? But we make decisions like that all the time. It's just different right now. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah, and it's moving so fast. At what point, like, do we get an opportunity to like take a step back at the macro level, like analyze our landscape? Like, these feel good, these feel dodgy, these are absolute no-nos. No one even has the mental bandwidth to have that conversation.
Who are you bullish on?
I mean, I've been saying this from like circa 2020, and I think I still stand by it. The giants, the main wall gardens, the main players, they are not going anywhere. In fact, like I was thinking the other day, I had a super nerdy game I wanted to play with my AdTech friends, to replay which company is going to survive in 2025, or which company is going to get acquired, and which company is going to get bankrupt. Because they're not all going to be around. Like, we should play that AdTech bingo game, because I think it would be, just for funsies, would be good to see where people's heads at. Those giants are not going away anywhere. I think how you align yourself to them is probably going to be your best bet for, I say, success and survival, while we go back to what our new normal might be.
Are there any startups in the space that you're intrigued by right now, or that you've met with, or that you've read about that you...
I think Perplexity fits right in that bucket, right? Because they're still like popping up as something new. There are a couple of other companies that are coming up, but they really haven't started offering like ad placements or ad offerings. So TBD on how they do. There are some companies like Chalice. If you guys been reading about like Chalice, releasing like how they're just to see how that continues to do in the market. I think we have
great reputation with Chalice.
Yeah, and I actually met I forget her name, Allie.
Yeah, Allie. Yeah. She's the co-founder.
Adam, the co-founder.
Yeah, super nice, like super smart. So I think there's opportunity out there with a lot of like startups to see where we can find those diamond in the rough opportunities. Because let's be real, the giants will take care of the most of it. Where do we have those pockets? It's going to be finding those pockets.
Yeah, that makes sense. And I think also, it's going back, it does take us back to the AI piece, where I think some of the foundations of the companies you were mentioning, like it's in algorithms. And yes, AI plays a role in it, but there's some point of like, are we calling something AI that really is just a well manicured and maintained algorithm? I don't know.
Or if it's machine learning that's now become AI. And I literally have been telling salespeople, like, if you had an old product that is deciding to rebrand as an AI, please don't. Yeah. Because which means if I was using it, I will choose to no longer use it. Like, just don't do it. Like, it's bad business for you. It's bad business for me. Can we keep things that are machine learning as machine learning? Things that are decision tree-based optimizations as them. Don't call them AI, because they're not AI.
You heard it here first from a top-tier marketer. Do not change your plan from a product standpoint. If you have an active product and if you've been working on it, Do not go and call it AI if you're using if it has not changed, it has not evolved. You're bastardizing that product and you're ruining what true innovation in generative AI and what
Yes, sir.
Great. Okay. We love that. Let's shift gears a little bit. Let's go into tell us more about Natasha. Tell us more about you. Tell us, let's take the work hat off. This is a little bit more of the fun stuff. Just how do you get into this space? How do you become an advertising marketing geek like Josh and I?
Honestly, I think I'll speak for myself. Because I feel like when I graduated college was a whole different time, like a time in an era. I want to say it was the more the easy or the lazy girl era, if you want to call it, because it was not as competitive. It's not as chaotic as it is today. So honestly, my first job out of college, I just found myself knocking on a door for a digital marketing agency. I didn't even know what digital marketing was because it wasn't even taught in business school at that point. They're like, hey, you can advertise on Meta. I was like, the same company. I go in, like, they had a post on people's walls. You could throw food at each other. I'm like, why are we advertising on such a thing? So I will be honest, I lucked into that space. And once I got a flavor for it, I just absolutely loved it. It was very direct. I got to work on such amazing brands. Really my first job. Like I was working on Coca-Cola as one of my first jobs. Just getting to like set up their YouTube channels, right? To see how their social media pages were doing. Like that just got me sucked in. So I think people today have a much better opportunity than I think we did because we truly lucked into it, right? We didn't even know what it was. I remember I was still in grad school and my professor was like, I heard you're working in an agency. Can you come and give like a session on this? Like if I have to go teach my professor what is the marketing, that tells you how early we were in our journey there. They have classes, they have degrees, they have specialization now that we did not have. So if that's something that interests you in your career so early on, you're lucky you get to study about it. And then you have a solid foundation and can apply for the jobs that you want to apply for. I don't know if you guys feel differently. I will say I truly lucked into this role and into this industry.
Yeah, I mean, I'm older than both of you, so yes, it was. I mean, it wasn't even there when I didn't go to college with any of these things, but yes, I think I think especially in the early days there was a level of like you got into it, luck, whatever you call it. But no, totally. I mean, I to this day I tell people like I got my first corporate job or client side job, whatever, I was not qualified for. But I had run search coincidentally at Razorfish. We didn't talk about that because again, I saw the dates that you were at Razorfish, and I was well gone beyond that.
Overlap. Mm-hmm.
And it's if not for Comcast dependency on search, they wouldn't have hired me. Now there was 10 things I had never done that I took on and said, sure, I could do those things. But I do think that if it wasn't for that thing to get me in the door and then to learn the rest and to grow, like I wouldn't have got there. Now, I do think kids today have a harder time, speaking of someone who has a kid who just got out of college, of looking at like I said, if you can get specialization, it's just, there's competitive stuff out there, but it's an interesting time to know, like, you can say, hey, I want to be focused on machine learning as a degree. I want to be a social media creative director. Like you can be more specialized now, and it does open up the opportunities in a good job market.
I really thought the job I really was going to aim for, like right out of college, was I wanted to be a TV buyer. Like that was the job I thought I was going to do. Absolutely the furthest away from that, but that is what I thought I was going to do. I was going to buy TV spots and negotiate pricing, and that was what I was going to do.
That's great. That's great. When you think about like partners, because you mentioned, salespeople and that, like, how do you bring partners into like planning? Because we have our hope is we have a lot of people also who are on that side, the sell side. And it's always, I find that they always have value hearing from people who actually buy those things and what resonates with you.
May I jump in for 1 sec? I want to add, do not send Natasha's in-laws packages. That would be a horrific move.
Especially now that I'm going to be moving soon out of state. So they'll be like, a mysterious package with your name, please don't.
But yeah, so what do you tell the like your partners, or how do you bring partners into your planning processes?
I mean, more than telling my partners who want to bring in, I should tell my team and my own colleagues and anyone I work with, like, working at like when you work at a Fortune 10 or anywhere that probably has more structure to how you engage and how you work, like the partners you bring in should matter because it takes a lot of man labor for us to like bring someone in, bring them into the fold, because this is my personal motto. Is I don't like to treat vendors as vendors. I actually call them strategic partners because they are basically an extension of us. If we truly teach them as like, let's be honest, they will all work in media long enough. Like some people that really treat sellers and account people like complete trash. Like I've been on the opposite side. I've been a salesperson. I've also run account teams. Like when you treat them like trash, guess what? They're not going to run your business the best that they would. They put all their life, sweat, and tears and long hours if they truly feel like they are a part of your business. Because that's why I'm grateful for my early foundation years were in sales and agency. Like you see in the other side, it's a hard life. Don't knock it till you've tried it. So when you want to have a third party person in or a third party company in the mix, you have to treat them well, and you want them to be a strategic partner. So when I build my own teams, like this is our motto, like anyone we want to work with, they have to bring immense value to us. They have to be unique. They have to bring things I can't get anywhere else. I don't want to buy any company product solution that I have two of when I don't need two of. So anyone new we want to bring in the fold has to really bring us that unique offering. I don't have to. It has to like fill in that gap that I'm currently not already caring for. So when you think about that universe, it becomes smaller and smaller. Just because when we bring you in, we bring you a very specific purpose, and I want to work with you closely. I want to give you the time, the attention. Like I will meet with you frequently. We will work on joint roadmaps. We will work on your products. I will probably sit and give your product people direct feedback because it's an important part of the equation, right? So we're just not open the door like anyone walk right in. We like to be very intentional about who we want to work with. And I think this I will do no matter where I work in my life, right? Because that is how you're going to succeed.
That's great. That's great advice. And I think I've, to me, the partner relationship, especially when you're on the brand side, is always so critical. And I too subscribe to the belief of like, you have partners and you have vendors.
Yeah.
And so like my partners are the ones who know, and this is a historical comment around my career of like, we're having trouble with numbers, we're having layoffs, we're doing cutbacks, like, or hey, we're doing really well. And like, how do you lean in and help me during those times? And vendors call and say, hey, I've got 10 great things to sell you. And you don't know enough about the business. And it's hard. And it's like you said, it's hard. I empathize with the sellers of the world because it's so competitive right now, especially with everybody rebranding as an AI company. So
and 2025 sales quotas, like I get it, people.
Yeah. It is, but it's, but I do think, and I do think for people listening that like, the more like the word, what Natasha is really pointing out is being a strategic partner, and you can be, and still hit your quota.
Yeah. Like just imagine like someone's like, hey, I have this amazing data set. Like you need to buy it. I get 50 of those emails a day. What makes you unique? Why do I want to speak with you? I'm glad you have volume, but so does everyone else.
When you and your husband are, since you announced and just shared with us the great news that you're pregnant, again, congratulations. When
Thank
you
you.
and your husband are not at work, what are you doing at home? What are you watching? Tell us some great shows, your favorite movies.
Oh, you guys are going to judge me so much.
Yeah, hardcore.
Because we watch, I'll say I watch nothing but trash. I watch absolute trash every day on TV.
What qualifies as trash? Are we in the Bravo universe?
Bravo is a sweet spot, but I've actually found a area lower than that.
Impressive.
I may have gone deeper. I was actually having a very fantastic chat with a gentleman from the trade desk, who in his past life used to work at NBC. Like the content like at NBC is huge, like Bravo, but there's some content that's even more trashier. But let's be real, no one wants to buy that. But that's truly what people watch.
Right.
So what our forever favorites are The Office. I can watch The Office as many times as you. No, I'm going high to low.
Yeah, you're highbrow now.
No, like I'm gonna work myself down to like the bits of trash I've been watching. So The Office is an absolute like forever. Friends, I can like go to every episode with my eyes closed asleep. Like I do watch a lot of reruns for some reason. But we've been watching Landman. If you haven't watched it on Paramount Plus, amazing. I've been loving that show. Awesome. But like now you want to go to the depths of the trash for me. So I took 3 weeks off in December and recently found the live TV function as part of Prime Video. If you haven't seen it, amazing. It's literally every TV show has its own channel. They also serve a lot of ads, so if advertisers want to buy it, it's out there. They have dedicated channels for Bridezillas. say yes to the dress for Judge Judy, I may have watched a lot of it.
Natasha, I love that you're hitting on this because my 12 and 9.5-year-old have recently discovered these areas that, oh my God, there's live TV. There's real channels that I can have access to in all these different apps and user interfaces. And one of my kids is becoming addicted to these kinds of just bottom of the barrel.
Oh my goodness,
just
like
great
Cops have
reality.
its own TV channel. Like, hell yes, I will watch Cops all day. Like, yes, I will.
That's awesome. So one last one building on that one. What's your walk-up song?
It definitely has to be Level Up by Ciara, because like I think that's my life motto. I need to level up every day. Wanna
That's good.
walk in. So that's my soundtrack.
That's good. I like that. That's awesome. Thank you.
That's good, Natasha. This has been an excellent discussion. This has been a fun one to record. We learned a lot about how a top exec looks at the space in terms of advertising and marketing, what's taking place truly within the AI ecosystem, all things content, privacy. We covered a lot. And then we talked about trash TV and more importantly, just careers and how you got into the space. So we packed a lot into this and we really appreciate you taking the time just to help our audience.
Thanks for guys like jamming with me, because I will, again, I'm still the offer says we should play AdTech Martech Bingo. I think we will, and we should like put that in like some kind of time capsule and see who won, because I think there's going to be a lot of movement there.
I guarantee that AdTech God and or Ari would be interested in doing that with you.
Oh yeah, I bet.
That's
Josh,
great. I would love it.
Thank you. Thanks for
Thank you guys.
Natasha,
Thank
thanks.
you.
Until the next one.